Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show in which we talk about nerd news topics that have happened over the past week since last Tuesday's show. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook and Instagram as a cosplay photographer, Burley_adopter on Twitter, a couple of other places, doing a couple of other things. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. In case you guys haven't been paying attention, there's been some trailers and stuff that's dropped recently, and we're definitely going to be talking about those, but some other news as well. So I'm going to jump right into it after we do our first of our two promos that we try to get out of the way here, and that is we ask that you follow us on Twitch. That URL there on your screen, twitch.tv/nerdcaliber, is where you can find us. We live stream our shows Tuesday night here, Thursday night our Full Fat Spoiler Chat, Monday, which we alternate between Anime Octane and No Nerd Caliber, on all three platforms, Twitch, Facebook Live, and YouTube. So, if you've got a Twitch account, if you've got a Facebook account, you can do it too. But if you've got a Twitch account, please do check that out. We'd love to have you follow us. All right, we're going to jump right into the very first story-ish. And that is the rumor, or the single source story, that there is in fact going to be a Disney Plus Daredevil series starring Charlie Cox from the Netflix Daredevil series. With the news comes from Variety. Now, I would normally not give this any credit, but it is Variety, one of the most respected trade magazines for, Hollywood content. They list it as quote-unquote sources tell them. Generally, reporters try to be pretty, they would say a source if it was a single source. So sources implies that they've heard it from multiple people. However, it has not been confirmed. It has certainly not been confirmed by Marvel Studios, which never says anything about stuff that's in the works before they announce it. But according to this article, the production team behind it, as executive producers and writers, is Matt Corman and Chris Ord. And they have not responded to a request for comment. They created the series Covert Affairs, starring Piper Perabo, that was on the USA Network, ran for 4 seasons. A pretty decent spy series. Nothing really outstanding about it. But it was good, fun, funny, exciting. Does that key into Daredevil? Not really. Daredevil's never been funny to any extent. Unintentionally funny, Stilt Man. But, comedy has never been a Matt Murdock Daredevil thing. Tragedy certainly has. So I'm not really sure whether they'd like the best fit, but, give them a shot if it is in fact truly happening. Now, the showrunner of the Netflix series, Stephen DeKnight, seems to think that it is happening because he commented on it, calling it, quote, bittersweet, but all I want is a great Daredevil show I can watch with the rest of the fans. Implying that he thinks it's real. Again, it's not confirmation. He is not involved in it, so he has no inside knowledge other than whether they've brought him on or asked him to be a consultant or anything like that. So, who knows? It's a rumor. It is a single source. All of the stories that you've seen that said it's happening all either quote Variety or they don't, but the source was clearly Variety because they do not have any inside sources themselves. As of, I think 4 in the afternoon is when the last time I really did a sweep and tried to see whether or not there was any other confirmation. So, yeah. I would love to see it. We all know, if you've heard, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but, he has made an appearance in the MCU as Matt Murdock. And of course, this isn't that much of a spoiler because it happened back in December, but Vincent D'Onofrio appeared as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, in the Hawkeye series. So, now, it's a logical thing to assume. Hopefully we'll get a confirmation at some point. But you got to remember when when it was discovered, or somebody inside sources reported that Tatiana Maslany had been cast as Jennifer Walters as She-Hulk. She literally went on Twitter and denied it. So until Marvel is ready to say something about this, don't expect Charlie Cox to let it out of the bag. But I hope it's the case. I really would like to see it. Marvel has been doing a very good job, up and down, but never below the good quality line with its series. So let's hope. All right, moving on to our next one. We've talked a fair amount in the past about the upcoming Peacock series adapting the video game series Twisted Metal. Well, the news is Thomas Hayden Church has been cast in that series. He is going to be playing Agent Stone, described here as a cold and unyielding post-apocalyptic highway patrolman who rules the roads with a silver tongue and a twisted iron fist, prosecuting even the smallest crimes with the harshest of judgments. I don't know if that's a character from the game. I haven't played the video game, so I couldn't say. But it sounds interesting, and I'm a big fan of Thomas Hayden Church here, obviously as Sandman, in the best performances out of the otherwise mostly pretty terrible Spider-Man 3. But he has done so many other wonderful things. He's a fantastic actor. And Oscar-nominated actor. So that, of course, is starring Anthony Mackie, Stephanie Beatriz. We'll see when we get any information about when it's actually dropping, but it's going to have Thomas Hayden Church in it as what sounds like sort of an antagonist. Not exactly a bad guy, but definitely not on the side of of John Doe or Quiet, the two characters who are doing illegal stuff. All right, moving on from that. This is, of course, the Wonder Twins from the original Justice Friends TV series way back in the 1970s. And we reported a couple of months ago, that there was a series, a live-action series. Let me get this correct. Series or movie? Feature project. So a movie, but on HBO Max, that was going to be starring KJ Apa and Isabel May. KJ Apa from Riverdale, of course. Isabel May from 1883. Nope, it's done. It is toast. According to Hollywood Reporter, they have heard that this is dead in the water, and in fact, it had been killed a few weeks ago. So it sounds like the "hey, we found our stars" to "hey, this is not going to happen" was 3 to 4 weeks worth of there was a movie going to happen. So yeah, it's not going forward. It was, according to this article, going to be in the range of $75 million budget. And sources have said that the new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery has said that he wants to keep all HBO Max exclusive movies under $35 million. So, yeah. Which was, according to one of the reasons why there have been other movies planned for HBO Max that have been canceled. That they would have been over that 35 million mark, even if it was only like 55. You don't get to see the Wonder Twins, folks, in a live-action series starring Archie. Too bad. What you will get to see is an anime series of Rick and Morty. This got announced that Adult Swim has given the green light to a Rick and Morty, the anime series. It is going to be run by Takashi Sano, who was the director of the anime series Tower of God, which was generally really well received, very interesting anime. And it is a 10-episode anime series that will be separate in as far as continuity from the actual Rick and Morty animated series. But it will have all the same characters. It will be Rick and Morty stories. They just won't bother trying to figure out where they will fit in the actual Rick and Morty canon. this director has actually made a couple of anime shorts called Rick and Morty versus Genocider and Summer Meets God that are apparently really well received. So good on him for just sort of on spec doing some things that he really liked and then getting an actual good paid gig to do it. It also mentions in this article that Adult Swim has also contracted a series called Ninja Kamui, which is going to be directed by Sung-Hoo Park, who's the director, the overall director of Jujutsu Kaisen, and directed the new Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie. So that's just going to look amazing. It's got ninjas in it with a name like Ninja Kamui. So you can imagine it's going to be fantastic, or at least the fight scenes will be fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. Definitely, I'm really keen on seeing what Sano does with this interesting, take on Rick and Morty. It doesn't say exactly when this is going to happen, but I think that they're already in production. Anyway. Next topic, folks. This is an image from the very first trailer for the series The Winchesters, which is the prequel to Supernatural. Tells the story of how Sam and Dean's parents, John and Mary Winchester, met. Those are the two on the left in your image. John, the tall drink of water, Mary, the blonde with the flashlight. And apparently John discovers that demon hunting is in his blood, but he is not a demon hunter, where Mary is at the point that they meet, and does demon hunting with her two friends here. And I was really unsure where they were going with the ethnicity of these two people, but apparently next to Mary is, and part of this is because of the name, Latika, and they never said her last name, but it's Desai, so, and is played by Nida Khurshid, so definitely a South Asian or Near Eastern character and actor. And next to Latika is the actor Jojo Fleites playing Carlos Cervantes. So I'm guessing either straight up Hispanic or Hispanic native. But as far as, I'm not a fan of Supernatural, never have been. I watched a couple of episodes, usually when Felicia Day was on, and it was okay for me. I know there are huge fans in our fandom, in Nerd Caliber, among Nerd Caliber's friends, even in our team. But so this trailer didn't really do much for me. It looks good. It looks CW. But if you're a Supernatural fan, I think you'll probably like this, and go check out the trailer. All right, our next topic. This, we do have tons of super fans in the Nerd Caliber team. This is from the last season of What We Do in the Shadows, and the news is that FX has announced when season 4 will drop, or will start. And that is coming up in it's right here. Why can't I see it? It's June, I think. July 12th. So you don't have to wait that long if you're a What We Do in the Shadows fan. I'm not going to get too deep into where season 3 ended off, but I can say, without getting into any details, they left it where all of the cast members sort of went off in their own directions. And they do say in this that the season starts with they've all come back to New Jersey and back to their mansion, which is falling apart. It's in a terrible state of disrepair. So we probably get to see, either via flashback and or stories or both, what happened to them while they were away. And those, I'm sure, will be very funny episodes. But you don't have to wait very long to find out. July 12th. So for all of you, Shadows fans out there, I'm sure you're all very happy right now that you don't have to wait that long. Frankly, it seems like a pretty short time. I think the last season dropped in early fall and wrapped up in late winter, or I guess early winter. And so this one is probably going to be done by mid to late September. So, but yeah, check it out, folks, if you're a fan of What We Do in the Shadows. All right, this is our first trailer we're talking about. This is Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba from George Miller's movie 3,000 Years of Longing. And in it, Idris Elba plays a genie that is trapped in a bottle. The bottle is purchased at a market in Istanbul by Tilda Swinton, who plays Dr. Alethea Binney, a mythography scholar. And she knows immediately what she has once Idris Elba shows up, but also knows the dangers of actually asking for wishes because she's a mythography scholar. So she basically puts the whole idea of, actually asking for a wish off by having him tell stories of some of the more interesting things people have wished for. So it's kind of interesting that they've taken the core of the story of Aladdin and the magic lamp. Somebody finds a lamp that's a genie, and then used it as sort of the wraparound structure for the story that Aladdin and the Magic Lamp is part of, the overall book of Arabian Nights, or The Tale of 1,001 Nights and a Night, or I think is the actual title. And that's really, really cool. It's George Miller, so it looks amazing. Picture the sort of the color palette and the style and sensibility of Mad Max Fury Road with, stuff that doesn't look anything like that. Beautiful historical settings, Byzantine, I'm assuming ancient Persian, all sorts of really fascinating stuff. This article that's talking about it in The Verge, the author says at the end, questionable as some of 3,000 Years of Longing's optics are, the trailer's fantastic visuals are both striking and sumptuous, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really sure what he's getting at, what they are getting at, he or Charles, so I'm going to go with he, is getting at with questionable optics. If they're saying that, why would you cast a black man to necessarily be a genie trapped in a bottle, essentially a slave to the master of the person who releases them? I don't remember any of that complaints about Will Smith starring as the genie in Aladdin, which is literally the same thing. And in fact, essentially the same character. So, yeah. If you want to get really technical about all this, supposedly the story came from one of the Muslim lands of Central Asia. So the genie should be, either Western Chinese or Turkic, Uzbek, Kazakh, something like that. Yeah, get over it, folks. It's Idris Elba. Why would you not want to watch Idris Elba be a genie? Come on. Now, there may be other optics in here that I don't recall being problematic. I watched the trailer a couple of times and I didn't see anything else that I could think anybody would ever get up in arms about. But, yeah. So, check it out. It looks fantastic. It got a 6-minute standing ovation at its screening at Cannes. So, I think it's probably going to be pretty good. Hits theaters and only theaters. They made this very clear in the trailer, August 31st. So, I don't know if, the COVID stuff is going to be, will have lightened up enough by then for me to want to get back to theaters. Right now it hasn't, which means I'll probably see it when it hits HBO or some other streaming, or video on demand on Amazon or something like that. But if you're into going to theaters, then August 31st. All right, this story just... frosts my pumpkin, as I say. This is Stan Lee, of course, in one of his amazing cameos. This was from the not so amazing Amazing Spider-Man. And the news is that Stan Lee's likeness, image, and name have been licensed by something called Stanley Universe, which is a joint venture between Generic Brands International and POW Entertainment, for use by Marvel for a 20-year exclusive deal in future feature films, television productions, as well as Disney theme parks, various quote-unquote experiences, and merchandising. So, a lot of people have speculated about whether or not this means that they're going to basically do deepfake Stan Lee cameos in upcoming movies. Some people have said, and in fact, in this article, let's see who they quote here saying it. I can't remember who it is, but basically, somebody in here has said that they will not be doing digital recreations of him, that this quote is only licensing his images, existing stock footage, his name and signature for use in commercial stuff. But like they've said for sure that there won't be any video games, no VR stuff. That does not mean that they will not recreate him digitally in an upcoming movie or TV series. And in fact, so the chairman and CEO of Genius Brands says it really ensures that Stan, through digital technology and archival footage and other forms, will live in the most important venue, the Marvel movies and Disney theme parks. He says digital technology and, quote, other forms. If he was referring to just using archival footage, he would not have said digital technology. Now, this POW Entertainment is the company that was co-founded by Stan Lee, who he then sued for $1 billion, and then within a few months canceled the lawsuit, over the fact that apparently they had told him he was signing with them a non-exclusive deal for the use of his name and likeness, and it turns out it was an exclusive deal, which means he no longer personally had use of his own likeness. Everything had to go through this POW Entertainment. Somebody came to an agreement, clearly, because he dropped the lawsuit. And his lawsuit was for $1 billion, and if he could prove that they were, in fact, playing fast and loose with signing contracts, yeah, he would have owned the company solely or gotten paid $1 billion, and they didn't have it. So I'm assuming they came to some sort of deal that was acceptable to Stan because he dropped the lawsuit. And clearly, POW Entertainment does have the right to license exclusive use of his name, signature, and likenesses. Because that's what they did for Marvel for 20 years. So, whatever they say, you will see a Stan Lee cameo in an upcoming movie. I guarantee it. Since Marvel has the exclusive license to it, I doubt that it will be one of the Spider-Man movies or Spider-Man Universe movies, because they're not going to let Sony do that, even if they're making another, Spider-Man 4. But it could be in something in phase, 5 coming up, when people are a little less worried about this sort of thing. Who knows? I'd say it just seems like a terrible thing for his legacy. But, we'll have to see. All right, our next story is that I'm going to describe this first. So back about a year ago, it was announced that Mindy Kaling was going to be doing an animated series focused solely on Velma, and from the Scooby-Doo franchise. And the first images of that came out in the upcoming Warner Brothers upfronts. At the the recent upfronts is when TV stations present stuff to people that carry their content. It's a big industry insider event. And so she came out on stage and showed that this is not going to be a Scooby-Doo type story. This is the image that was up on stage there. So first off, Velma is South Asian, like Mindy Kaling, from ancestry from India. This image shows somebody who's been killed and the top of their skull is missing and their brain is missing, lying there on the floor. And it happened apparently in a ladies' locker room because all of the young women or girls or whoever behind Velma are, as far as I can tell, naked with just soap on them, including what I'm guessing is Daphne, the redhead. So clearly this is going to have much more like the Harley Quinn series vibes than Scooby-Doo. But also, I love this quote. On stage, she said, "Hopefully you noticed my Velma is South Asian. And if people freak out about that, I don't care." And that's wonderful. It was announced back a year ago that Velma would in fact be a South Asian character in this upcoming series. And at that time, all of the, I don't want to call them racists. They could be people who are just really 100% committed to the idea that nobody can change anything. Except you notice those people are always white, talking about white characters. Anyway. They all came out of the woodwork and, started just foaming at the mouth like they do. And she literally just had nothing to do with it. She blew them all off. Way to do it, Mindy. If it's anything like the Harley Quinn series, which is hilarious, I'm all for this. I don't know. I find Mindy Kaling's humor to be, she's great as a guest. Let's put it that way. The series that she starred in, I just don't think she has the humor to keep that level of, or the chops to keep that level of humor consistent, all through the series. But that's my experience, and I could be completely wrong. And who knows who's actually doing all of the writing and so on. This could be a really big collaborative effort with Mindy just basically, being the, executive producer and I'm guessing the voice of Velma. You can look forward to this when it comes out, which has not been announced yet. It was announced in early 2021, so I'm guessing it's probably going to be early 2023. I can't imagine that it would take any longer to get this produced. But anyway, moving on to our next topic. This is the amazing Mads Mikkelsen from the way less than amazing Fantastic Beasts 3, playing Grindelwald, replacing Johnny Depp, and no, I don't want to hear a word about the replacement of Johnny Depp and whether it was right or wrong, or who cares except Johnny Depp and the people who get paid on his money. That has nothing to do with what this story is. This story is about the fact that the previously mentioned David Zaslav, the former head of Discovery and now head of the combined Warner Brothers Discovery, has said that they are committed to doing more Harry Potter universe content for HBO Max, and is reportedly going to be meeting with J.K. Rowling in, quote, coming weeks in order to discuss this potential content, because she would have to sign off on anything. Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, is the worst financially performing movie of all of the Harry Potter franchises of any kind, whether it's mainline Harry Potter or these Fantastic Beasts. As of the time of this writing, 4 days ago, it had made $379 million worldwide. The first movie made $811 million. Now, this is rumored to have cost $200 million to make, so at a profit currently of $179 million, considering that there wasn't that big a marketing push, it's probably started to turn a profit. And it will probably make a little bit of a profit by the time everything is said and done. But it's certainly not a good sign that, the Harry Potter universe is in good stance. Now, granted, these are terrible movies, terribly written, great cast and great, often great acting, but just stupidly written. But still, people just don't want to go see this stuff. And frankly, Rowling has turned off so many people that they're just not going to. If you're not a dedicated Potterhead, and there are still a lot of them out there who basically just pretend that Rowling was never involved. But if you're not a dedicated Potterhead, I'm not going to ever go see another Harry Potter thing. I'm not going to buy another Harry Potter book. If Rowling gets money off of it, hell no. I really love the look of the gameplay in the upcoming game Hogwarts Legacy. But I wouldn't buy it because Rowling is going to get some money off of it. And then I realized I wouldn't even buy it once it goes on like a free Epic Store or whatever, Humble Bundle or something like that. Because apparently the game designer is just, problematic as hell. Right-wing, possibly anti-Semitic, So they're not doing well out there in the Potter universe, and this is a dumb move on Zaslav's part. Cut it off at the leg, just get it out of your system. Don't do any more Harry Potter stuff. It's silly. But we've already seen what Zaslav is doing with Warner Brothers Discovery, and it ain't good. Poor DC, poor Warner Brothers, poor HBO Max. This isn't going to work well. Anyway, moving on to our next story. If you are a Stranger Things super fan and you don't mind what are sort of spoilers, you've probably seen the first 8 minutes of the upcoming season 4 already, because they dropped it. It's available on YouTube, various other places. And I don't want to go into too much detail because an awful lot of people really don't want to know. But these images were actually released in teasers and trailers months and months and months ago. Or the one I've got here, and similar. And these first 8 minutes take place in this setting, which is just before the beginning of the first series. And it deals with the various other test subjects, like 11, for I think 1 through 13. And what happens just prior to 11 not being in that test facility anymore. So, yeah, it's very interesting, really well done. If you want to watch it, go for it. One of the other things about Stranger Things Season 4 that has come out officially, and we knew that they were dividing the season in sort of half. The first episodes will be coming out just this, Friday. Well, I'll be at Anime Boston, of course. And the rest of them will start July 1st. So 7 of the 9 episodes will be in that first core, starting May 27th, which it's Netflix, so they'll drop all at once. And then on July 1st, the 8 and 9 will drop. All of the episodes have been officially announced as far as runtime, and they are all over an hour. Many of them are over an hour and 15 minutes. A number of them are over an hour and 30 minutes, so they are 90-minute movie lengths. And episode 8 is just under 2 hours, and episode 9 is 2 hours and I think 14 minutes. So they are packing pretty close to 2 seasons worth of content in this next to the last season. And they have announced that season 5 will be the last season. So I'm really looking forward to this. If you want to see the 8 minutes, the first 8 minutes, go watch it. It's really interesting. It gives you some very interesting backstory from previous seasons, but it doesn't give away anything specifically about what's happening in season 4, so you won't really be spoiled. But again, if you don't want to see anything before you sit down on May 27th and watch it, then yeah, don't watch these first 8 minutes. All right, our next teaser or our next trailer is the one that's in the teaser image, the thumbnail, and that is the first trailer for season 3 of Umbrella Academy dropped, and it looks awesome. It is full of way more conflict and fights between the Umbrella Academy and the Sparrow Academy, the not Umbrella Academy in this alternate timeline that they managed to land in. It's got wonderful interactions between Five and Diego. They're so perfectly still in character. And I had said when they made the announcement that Elliot Page would be playing Victor Hargreaves, that I hope they make Victor as badass as he looked in the image. And there's one scene in particular where Victor has a line that's just chilling. And it's like, yes, thank you. That is, in fact, the actual... Victor has become aware of the potential of the power of what was called the white violin in the character in the comic series, and leans into it. Let's put it that way, and it's wonderful to see. I would definitely recommend you watch this if you are a fan of Umbrella Academy. It is so thrilling and exciting. So this season drops really soon, too. June 22nd, of course, on Netflix. I can't wait to see it. It looks so good. And I'm dying to see more of how they portray Victor as a character. And of course, all the others. But definitely what they do specifically with Victor. So check it out. It's really awesome. And our final topic tonight, wow, we flew right through all of these, even though there's a lot of them. It happened last night, folks. So the trailer, first a commercial for, the first commercial for Thor Love and Thunder appeared during the football game, the Monday Night Football game last night. And then, of course, they dropped a full-length, 2-minute plus trailer right after that. And if you haven't seen the trailer and you are interested at all in Thor Love and Thunder, and if you're not, I'm not really sure why you're watching this particular YouTube channel, then I would highly recommend that you go check it out. That image that's on your screen right there is one of the best, clearest images of the new design for Jane Foster Thor, their new design for the look of Thor Odinson, Valkyrie's new armor. You even see Korg back there with, his new look with his, big fur cape or stole or whatever it is around his neck. Now I gotta say, and you get, the important thing is, unlike some of the previous teasers, in this one you actually get to see Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, the actual main villain of this whole piece. His character looks somewhat different, well, quite a bit different than, the character in the comic book. That is absolutely fine by me. The character in the comic book is essentially a noseless, featureless face with a slit of a mouth and, floppy dog ears. Not exactly a terrifying... I mean, he's a terrifying character because of what he does. Not at all how he looks. Christian Bale's look as Gore the God Butcher is different and very interesting. But I gotta say, a little bit of his look and definitely a lot of his voice really gave me some Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen from Dune vibes. I don't know that Christian Bale deliberately decided to model the way he was going to emote as Gore on Stellan Skarsgård's Baron, but it's really noticeable. The other thing is that this trailer leans really heavily into the comedy. And so I sort of jokingly said in our group, it's kind of like Our Flag Means Thunder. Our Flag Means Death, Taika Waititi's recent HBO Max series about Blackbeard and Stede Bonnet, the Gentleman Pirate. And the comedy in this trailer kind of seems a little bit like that sort of looser improvisational stuff. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And if you have watched Our Flag Means Death, you know that series gets deeply, deeply dramatic, heart-wrenchingly tragic. It's a silly, completely absurd comedy at times, of course, with lots of improv and guests like Will Arnett and so on, who really lean into that stuff. And it's also just an amazingly dramatic story. And so if we look back at all of the very dramatic elements of Thor Ragnarok, I'm sure they're all in there. They're just not putting it in this particular trailer because probably that's the stuff that you don't want to give away. The drama probably comes from the big plot points. Like you wouldn't want to give away the really dramatic or tragic aspects of Our Flag Means Death to anybody who hasn't seen it and is a fan of Taika Waititi's comedy stuff. So I'm sure it's in there. But you'll notice if you watch this trailer that they definitely lean really heavily into the comedy. And we also, it's the first time we get to see Russell Crowe as Zeus. And again, that's pretty funny. But we also don't get to see if anything happens to Zeus and Olympus because of Gore the God Butcher, who, as you might be able to tell from his name, based on the Jason Aaron comic run of Thor in which this happens, he kills gods. He has a sword that allows him to do that. And he's gunning for all the gods in the universe. So probably if Zeus and Olympus are elements of the story, Gore the God Butcher is going to show up there as part of it. And so we will undoubtedly get a very dramatic storyline. But obviously they're not going to show that, and so they're going to lean into the comedy. I'm still absolutely thrilled. Natalie Portman looks like she is absolutely killing it as Jane version of Thor. And I'm 100% for that. Thrilled that she committed to bulking for this. Because in the comic, whenever Jane is holding the hammer, she's jacked. There are reasons why that's not the case when she's not holding the hammer that I don't want to go into because they may be plot elements in this story as well. And I wouldn't want to give that away. But it's, good job. Kudos to Portman. And so far, everything I've seen to everybody involved. Also, a summer thing, we get to see Thor Love and Thunder July 8th. Again, in U.S. theaters, and theaters only initially. It's probably going to stick to the 45-day wait time before it hits any sort of streaming service. Already we found the rumors actually out there that Doctor Strange will be appearing at least on demand, in about a month after it first appeared. So in just a few weeks. But that's on demand, and they may stick to their 45 days before it then hits actual streaming, like Disney Plus. So that's the case. I'm almost positive that July 8th will not be clear of what's currently going on out there with Omicron variants. So I will not be seeing this in theaters. I guarantee that. And that's it, folks. That's our show. We've got very little to tease to tell you about upcoming stuff because there won't be a show this Thursday. I will be in the Heinz Convention Center setting up Actually, at showtime, I'll be in a meeting. But prior to that, setting up for the cosplay photography suite. As I've mentioned a million times, we're running the, you know what, I'm going to really quickly, while I'm just chatting, try to set up another quick image, if I can find it and get to it real fast. It's going to show you where, in fact, we will be at Anime Boston, and this is it. So, folks, right there is the map of the first floor of the Heinz and the various functions that will be happening at Anime Boston. It actually doesn't fit. You can't see. Let's see, bring it back this way and see if I can. There we go. That's a big image. So you can see that I will be in the cosplay photo suite, room 102 here, along the wall that's facing the windows. And that is the Nerd Caliber. That's where you can get your Nerd Caliber free photos. Our press team will be at a community row table out here in the long community row, in the hall, or the hallway directly across from Hall A, which is the big dealer's room and so on. So that's where we'll be, folks. So we won't have a show Thursday night because of that. We've moved the topic of that show, which was going to be Love, Death, and Robots, over to next Thursday. And next Monday's Anime Octane show is going to be on the Netflix short animated series. It's only 5 episodes, Vampire in the Garden. So we will see you at one of those upcoming shows. In the meantime, we'd love you to check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/nerdcaliber. If you are of a mind to, we'd love to have you as a patron. We only have 3 tiers, and our lowest tier is just $2 to help us out to go to cons and cover stuff. So, with that said, folks, do please stay safe out there. Today alone, I got 3 reports on Facebook of friends who have come down with COVID, and one that was exposed to it at MegaCon in Orlando, with multiple people, or by multiple people, who have since reported that they have COVID. So, you know, it's just going out. And then other people just on Twitter, you know, that people I follow have suddenly succumbed to it. It's going to hit you, folks. It's going to hit me. It's going to hit all of us. Try to get to the point where you are as vaccinated and boosted as you possibly can. And it has dwindled down to the, you know, lowest possible side effects and effects, so that when you do get it, it's not terrible, and you ideally won't get any of the long COVID symptoms, which for those people who got it initially still include what they call brain fog, you know, difficulty focusing and thinking. Some people still do not have their sense of taste and smell recovered. You know, lung issues. Don't get COVID, folks. It's just terrible. Stay safe. Wear a mask when you go into any sort of indoor facility. And we will see you at one of our upcoming shows or at Anime Boston this coming weekend. Good night and bye-bye.